My name is Lenore Berkman, and my age is, do I have to tell? The way I got into nursing was really, I think, a stroke of good luck, because as the war went on, the graduate registered nurses went on to become Army, Navy nurses, and there was such a shortage of nurses in the country that a wonderful congresswoman from Ohio, from Cleveland as a matter of fact, her name was Frances Payne Bolton. She established what was called the U.S. Cadet Nurse Corps. And because of her establishing that, I got, like the returning GIs, I got my education free of charge. Uncle Sam paid for my education, which was fabulous. When I got through with my nursing school and I went back to Cleveland, I didn't really quite know what I wanted to do, but I needed to earn a living. So one of my friends called and said, "There's an opening in a doctor's office, you know." She said, "Just for the time being, just so you have some money coming in, why don't you apply for it?" She said, "You're more than qualified." So I went, I talked to the doctor there, and he hired me. And one day, a Mrs. Berkman came into the office, and I looked at her and I thought, I had a friend whose name, and her name was Annabelle Berkman, and I knew Annabelle's mother, and this was not Annabelle's mother. And I thought, whose mother could she be? And it suddenly dawned on me that she had to be Owen's mother. We went to the same junior and senior high school, and I knew who he was, but I'd never talked to him in school because he was a year ahead of me. And the next day, who called me on the phone? And so that began the big romance. And so it was really very nice. I mean, introduced by your future mother-in-law. He was probably the more romantic than I. But one of the things that I have in my apartment, even today, is a beautiful record, a '78 record that I had mounted because after we had dated for, I don't know, 3 months, 6 months, somewhere in there, he came to my house with this record. The title of the song is "So Far," and it was written by Hammerstein. It was in a play called Allegro on Broadway, which never made the big time. But this song is a beautiful, romantic love song. And so that kind of, I think, sealed his fate. We moved into the apartment, we sold our house. We moved into this apartment, which I absolutely loved. And he had not been well for several years, and that's why I wanted to be out of the house. And so in 10 days, he passed away, which we certainly never anticipated. My kids were wonderful. When I called them, they just were, all three came in the next morning, and we went to the hospital. And so fortunately, we were in the room when Owen passed away. And it was a very peaceful death. And as a friend of mine said, and she was absolutely right, it was grief and relief. Relief that he was through being so ill, but grief because I'd lost my partner. Maybe for 6 months, I was doing things like automatically. This had to be taken care of, I took care of it. That had to be taken care of, I took care of it. But I would say I was like in a fog. I was doing things automatically. And then once I started getting back to myself, really, I said, okay, I have to do something. I just have to get out of this. So I convinced one of my friends to go on a trip with me. And we went on an elder hostel trip to New Orleans and had a wonderful time. And so then by that, I just worked myself through that whole grief process. So naturally, I came here. It was a very good move, I must say. people in South Orange have been very friendly and welcoming and encouraging me to, you know, get involved in things, and I can't tell you how I appreciate that, because it's made my transition from Ohio to New Jersey a very easy thing to do.